so she knew what to wave, so it was just before airplane. The future, it seems to be alright, since the light of the world is so blind. Last night she saw it was the time to die.
So I've been asked to make a video showing how to tie knots and applications of knots and everything that kind of goes along with it, I guess, when you're first learning how to tie them and where to use them and why to use them, when to use them. I've never been a real big fan of learning from a video of how to tie knots in particular, mainly for the reason that I think that's such a hands-on thing that it's almost impossible to properly teach somebody via video. I mean, maybe on Skype or something like that, you know, because you're doing it real time, but I think that's such a hands-on skill that it's best done face-to-face. So, you know, but I've been asked quite a few times to put something together, so I figured the way I can go about it is, you know, giving a general look at some of the knots that I use, mainly 2 or 3 of them. I'm not going to sit with the camera over top of my shoulder or, you know, looking down on it. So what I did was I took some time and I went outside and got up into a tree just to give the idea of, you know, how I would go about doing it, you know, why I would be doing it, and some of the cautions to look for, dressing, and you know, physical cautions of what you're doing that it isn't always explained. So the following will be some of that, and if you would like more information on how to tie knots, you know, by all means, you know, find a local climbing gym, or maybe even, you know, local community colleges and things of that nature. I know Penn State has classes on climbing, and that's a good way of going about it. You can contact me as well. I have classes on knots if you're in the Bucks County area of Pennsylvania or the tri-state region, and you want to come down and have a day at tying knots and rigging things up to see how it goes and why to use it, when to use it, put a load cell on it. By all means, you know, contact me. That's fine. I have no problem doing that. I would enjoy it. So here we go. Take a look at the knots. See what you guys think. All right, so I'm gonna act like we're gonna tie off this lead right here to lower it out. The way I'd go about a lead of this size, there's really 2 ways you can go about it, but I think mostly everybody would agree to go about it the same. You're going to want to put a half hitch to a running bowline into it, maybe even a couple half hitches to a running bowline, but I'm going to do 1 half hitch to a running bowline. And what that does is that'll help grip the piece you're going to cut and not put too much force just applied to one knot, being the running bowline. So we're going to start with the half hitch coming from the high point down to the lead. So you get your half hitch, and then I want to come up a little bit from it. I want to give it some distance, especially if you got some of these little old nubs. It's good to get above them. They can help out with the keeping from sliding if there was to be any sliding. So there usually isn't if you go ahead and you're mindful of your tying. So again, I don't want too big of a bite. Keep the bite kind of small. Make sure I come back inside the bowline, not on the outside. This is inside, not on the outside. Come around the bite. And then back in for my Yosemite tie off. Just a safety. You can do it if you want to. It's not necessarily, in this case, need it. And then you just go ahead, cinch down on it. The guy on the ground will take up. The one thing you want to do though is you want to try to keep everything in line. This way, when the piece, and when I say in line, you want to make it in line. So I'd be following following the lead, you know, straight in line with that, with the spine of the tie off here. Reason being is that if I
if I went this way with it, it would start bringing this and opening up the half hitch. And you know, as long as I have a distance below, that might not be such a big deal. But keeping everything in order, you know, you want to make sure that your cut goes with the direction of how you have things tied off. So you give the knots and the half hitch or the hitches a chance to do their job properly. You don't need so much of a tail, but you do want at least a hand. So if you put your 4 fingers or 5 fingers up to it, you at least want that. This way, if there is any kind of slippage, it has a chance to bite down. This is more than needed, but for demonstration purposes, you get the idea. And then I would make my notch underneath down here and drop it straight down, allowing it to run a little bit so it doesn't shock load. So that would be how I'd go about tying off. Right, so this is just the reverse of this direction. The last one that I showed you. And in this case, instead of having a lead basically swing down and drop, this line right here goes up to the crotch or to the rigging block to be lowered, and I'd be cutting down here, and it would be heavy down this way instead of heavy at the top. And this way you're capturing it from the top and not so much from the bottom. So this wouldn't have really as much of a dynamic rigging as much as it would be, you know, more tensioned up. Especially if you have a GRCS, you'd have it tensioned up, and most likely it would just raise up off your cut. So it's the same thing. It's just in reverse for your cuts of how you're going to make it. Again, this cut would come from down here being bottom heavy, whereas the reverse would be the other way that I just showed, which would be top heavy, showing how and swinging. I would set up a rigging station for cabling a tree, saying I'm going to put a cable from here, say over to that tree, for an example. What I want to do though is I want to get set up first. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to have to hang all my equipment off my harness as I do all this. It makes it very uncomfortable, especially when you're on a pretty straight spar and you know, you don't really have anywhere to put your feet as I do right now. You know, I'm nice and comfortable right now. But if I didn't have that, and I was going to step in my my foot ascender to kind of be able to stand and keep my weight a little bit as I wait for equipment or whatnot off my legs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the tail of my line, and I'm going to tie it out of the way. So we're going to just say right now that this is out of the way. I'm going to tie that on there. What I'm going to do is just put another running bowline on it. And that'll cinch to the tree itself. I don't really worry about so much of a tie off on this one. I'm not going to put it in the crotch because I want to kind of make believe that it's not there. It's, again, just a straight pole. So alright, so now I got that. What I want to do is I want to have a spot to put my equipment and hang my gear, hang my drill, maybe hang my saw to get that off me, especially if I'm going to continue to cut afterwards. I really don't want to lower down my saw just to have to raise it back up. So what I'll do is I'll tie one of 2 knots. I'll either tie an inline 8, which basically looks like this. Go ahead, you make a bite, pull some slack, bring it around the back, come around the front, and then around the back, and you see this little loop that I created here. I'm going to put it right in there. I'm just going to pull tight. I want to make sure that everything's nice and dressed. This way nothing's crossing. It's all about the details of a knot. If you can't tie knots dressed nicely, usually it's a good sign that other things in your system are going to be sloppy as well. And then what I can do is I can start hanging my equipment from there, and now it starts getting off me. I might put my saw there as well, or my my drill, or my my equipment bucket that they'll send up with the cabling equipment in it. This happens to have my 5-to-1 that I'll use usually for cabling. So you got that set up, weight's off of you. You can now start working freely and still moving around. but not have anything hitting off your leg. Another midline knot that I like to use more often than not is the alpine butterfly. Now there's a couple ways you can do it. Some guys I see wrap their hands to tie it. I don't like especially in this case, I don't like to wrap my hands with it, and due to the fact that the line runs back down to the ground and you got guys down there and they might not be paying attention so much to what you're doing. Now if they're dragging brush or something like that and it happens to snag the tail of that line going down, you have it wrapped around your hand, you know, that's gonna break your hand possibly. So, you know, if you're teaching, if you're learning or you're teaching guys on the crew to not wrap their hands or not wrap the rope around their hands when they're pulling on a rope, try to stay away from teaching them to wrap the rope around their hands for anything else. Because if they do it for one thing, it's a mental thing, mental memory or muscle memory. They'll just go back and they'll do it again for other things. So I usually tend to stay away from teaching that style. Instead, I'll just teach grabbing a bite, making it long enough that you can use it. Twist once, grab that X. Twist twice, you got this hole here. I want to keep that hole with my finger. I'll bring it around and grab the other hole that it creates. And I place it through. Lost my bone, but that's okay, because I still got the rope. And now I have my butterfly. Nice midline knot. Nice and dressed. And I can hang my gear or anything else that I want to hang there, once again, on there. Makes everything nice. So, and then what I like to do is, like I said, I use a 5-to-1. So I'll start prepping for pulling, and depending on how big the piece is, obviously if it's real big, if I'm pulling a massive, you know, 2 liters together, I'm not going to be using this. I'll use a come along, but we'll say it's something small. Maybe I'm doing a rig eye or something like that. So depending on the direction will depend on which way I put the brake side of this. Because with mine, I have a brake that I can use. So we'll say that I'm not going very far. I'll put the brake out there. I'll go ahead and I'll hang this in there just for safekeeping. And then the next thing that I'll do is I'll bring up, you know, a sling, a rigging sling, or an adjustable, and I'll put it on the piece that I'm going to be bolting or cabling into, above where I'm going to be cabling. So if the cable's down here, I'll put it up here, clip the mechanical advantage in.
There you go. It's a little bit. It shows some of the knots. Like I said, it's not all of them, obviously, by any means. There's plenty more knots out there that are very useful and, you know, are used. But it shows some caution of, you know, why I don't like necessarily teaching people how to tie knots on a video or YouTube or anything like that. I'd rather just be in front of you, or have someone that is good at what they do teach you how to tie knots in person. There's too many little things. It's very, you know, knots are very personal to each person, so it's easy to make, you know, simple mistakes that can be a big mistake in the long run. If your knots aren't sound, you know, your whole system could possibly just fall apart. Has a very good chance of it. You know, knots are involved with every part of your system, keeping you at height or a load from falling from your anchor system to your tie-in point to your hitches. So just try not to learn from the internet so much of how to tie knots. You know, maybe get a good idea of how to, you know, what the knot is about or something like that, but you know, seek instruction. That's the best way to go about it. So keep the questions coming. If you have anything that you have in mind that you're thinking about and you're not quite sure of, send me an email or, you know, Facebook on 45 COS. Try to get back to everybody as fast as I possibly can. Sometimes it's a little hard, but I will eventually get back to you. Alright, stay safe, guys. Climb safe. Thank you.
Just no one else, and so she see herself just south